private.
They loved it, yeah, and it was great. So I was actually busier after COVID. I know, it was very interesting. It was very interesting for me too. It was like, yeah, but yeah. I mean, I would say that COVID actually.
Hello, Empower Nation. Welcome to Empower Her Money podcast. I'm your host, Angela Duncan, and we are on site today in Mimo, great part of Miami here at the Consignment Bar. Welcome to Empower Her Money podcast. How are you?
Thank you. Yes, I'm well. Thank you.
Awesome. So I happened to find this on Google because I'm a big brand person. I love shoes, but this is kind of like a hidden gem here. So can you talk about how you got started with this consignment store?
Yeah, I mean, actually, I was on a red eye back from LA, and I had this kind of, I've always like been on the hunt for, bags, shoes, whatever. And I had this kind of idea of like, creating something that was beautiful in the sense of not like a vintage store. It had to be more of a beautiful, like from the chandeliers to the design of the place, it had to be beautiful. And so I had this idea, and I spoke to my husband about it, and he was like, oh, I think it's a great idea. And I don't know, next thing you know, it's like that's what I did, because it's very much
You can keep going.
yeah, it's very much the outlay of my store is completely it's like when you go to Neiman Marcus,
Right.
you go, there's levels, right? So you go and you like have like, I didn't want it to be about like the jeans or the things that were
Because it's very well laid out. Like if I walk in here,
Yeah,
I feel like
I
I'm
mean-
in a high-end luxury store.
exactly. And that was what I wanted to create. I did not want to create something that was of the middle of the store, like meaning like of the jeans and the this and the t-shirts. So I wanted it to be about like, the high-end bags and the high-end clothes and everything else. So yeah, and so that's what I did. But it really works like that, because when people come in, they are mesmerized by not just the bags, but by the layout of the store, and which makes a big difference.
It does, because it gives you an experience when you come in and want to go shopping. You want to feel good
Correct.
about where you're at.
Correct.
And I would think that leads to more sales because they're here longer. You have just like a very warm, welcoming environment.
Yes, I like everybody that comes in, like their first thing is like, oh my God, it smells amazing, and oh, and you have Birkins, and it's a very I have to say a very special place to me.
Yeah, even the lighting, like the lighting behind everything. It reminds me of, if you go to a nice restaurant and they've got the bar area and they just light up all the bottles behind it. This is like that version, and you just walk in and it's just so very well put together, and the way that you have everything kind of situated, it just is a lot of fun to shop in too.
Thank you. That was the goal.
Yeah. So how long have you been in this location now?
14 years.
Oh, wow. quite a while. I mean,
Yeah.
especially for a store to last that long in Miami, you've had to have learned some things along the way.
I have survived a global pandemic.
Yes.
I have survived a lot of things, but yeah, I mean, we've been here a while, and people know who I am, and they know what we're about, and yeah, I mean, I definitely cater to the people that want the luxury goods of, you know, but at a better price. But I wouldn't say it's cheap, but it's but it's definitely a fabulous place to shop.
Yeah, and even as a consignment place, a lot of your stuff still looks very new. So it's not like a used. Like sometimes people think of consignment, they think it's like very used, but it doesn't seem like that's the type of quality you have.
No, and I purposely take things in that are not you. Not, I have to like inspect it and say like it has to be like new. And it doesn't matter if it's a shoe, if it's clothing, if it's a bag or whatever it is. Like it has to be in pristine condition.
Well, it's your reputation too.
Yeah, but it's just kind of what it's what I want to be about. I don't want to just sell, resell something. I want to sell something that is in pristine, that's wanted, but that is pristine.
Yeah. What did you do when COVID happened? Like, how do you pivot to make sure that you're surviving during a shutdown?
That was interesting. I have to say, I mean, we moved everything to my guest house, and but then it really, I have to say, COVID actually helped my business. It made it. After I reopened, it was busier. It was, people came in and they were like, people were dying to go to a place that, like, malls were not what it was about because it was just too stressful, if you will, for people at that point.
Right.
And so they would come in here and it was like a mom and pop shop and they loved it.
A little more intimate, private.
They loved it, yeah, and it was great. So I was actually busier after COVID. I know, it was very interesting. It was very interesting for me too. It was like, yeah, but yeah. I mean, I would say that COVID actually during that time. I mean, we had, like, everybody, you had that, like, you don't know moment.
Right.
And
you could have easily just shut down shop.
You don't know.
Yeah. But you survived it.
You know what? We survived.
Yeah. How important is having, like, an online presence for a store like yours?
That's interesting because I don't do as much online as I should. Online is there's a lot of fraud. There's a lot.
I bet.
And that makes it a bit difficult. But I will say that we need to do more on the online bit. But it is something that is, how do I say it? When you are online, you are, it is easy, but it's also extremely, the amount of fraud that's out there that I've experienced is unfortunate.
Yeah, like fraud, like not real fake items, right?
Like in every way, like as far as like people like they will put their address at a hotel, and it will be fraudulent.
Yeah, I could see it kind of be like my starting point, right? I come across your store, I start looking at some items, but then I want to go in person and try on the shoes or try on the jacket. So it might be a good place to start, but it may not be where I finish my sale. I'm still coming in person.
I will say that the great thing about being a reseller is that in person is the way to go, because people want to feel it, touch it, see it. You know, especially if they're paying like, you know, $15,000 for a bag.
Right.
You know, they don't want to just like buy it online.
Yeah.
Typically.
Too.
But for the most part, yeah, I mean, I feel like that being in person is so much more gratifying, and it definitely is something that people want to do.
Yeah. And plus, we want it now. So I can come into the store, buy a purse, walk out, and I can go use it that night. So instead of having to wait for it, get shipped, I've seen it, I've touched it, I love it, I'm going to use it right away. So I can see how the in-person experience too.
Absolutely. And then people also want to take it back home with them.
Yeah.
Like right then. They don't want to have it shipped. You know, that's the thing. They want it and they want to walk out with it.
So for maybe the audience that's listening that hasn't been to a consignment, can you explain to them what that means? Like, how do you work with clients that are selling? You know, what does that mean to have a consignment store?
Well, consignment, first of all, it is like you get paid when it sells, and we sell it for you. So a lot of people don't understand what consignment is, and which, you know, it's interesting because I have, you know, been around this business for decades, but I will say a lot of people do not know or understand what consignment is. So basically, we sell it for you, and then once it sells, you get paid, and it's like we work for you.
Right. So you get paid kind of like a commission for selling their items.
Correct.
Gotcha. What's been the most expensive thing that you've sold in the store?
Birkin.
Yeah.
Hands down.
And for the audience who don't know what that is or how much it goes for, what's the range? I don't own any of these, by the way.
Birkins, depending on the size and the condition, go from $12,000 to $20,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not there yet. I mean, I like shoes, but not quite that high yet.
Yeah, I mean, I would say an average sale of that is around $15,000 to $17,000.
Gotcha. And out of the brand names, which one is the most mispronounced? Because there's quite a few brands, and I feel like people don't always know what they're saying when they're asking for it.
Hermes is always mispronounced.
Yes.
They call it
we have
Hermes. They'll call it. It's a dozen different ways, but yeah. No. Hermes is definitely probably the top one to mispronounce. But I've actually had a very, very wealthy client who came in and said she wanted some Dulce and Gabbana.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it looks like that's how you pronounce it, but if
but
you
it's
don't
Dolce
know,
and Gabbana.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you don't know. What do you think the future of like this type of store versus retail? What do you think more people are going to keep coming to the consignment, or what do you think will happen with our shopping trends?
I mean, I kind of feel like consignment is here to stay. You know, I mean, who doesn't want a bargain? Who doesn't want a better deal? Who doesn't want to be able to have that find of, you know, the hunt of like finding something that you just can't go into a store and get. So for me, I feel like it's here to stay.
Yeah. Well, I hope so for your business too.
Your mouth to God's ears.
Yeah. How do you not bring everything home?
You know what? When you work in a dream closet every day, it's constantly evolving. It's constantly changing. So for me, it's I don't even think about it.
No, Because it's like your job now. So it's not really.
You know what? It's it is. My kids, my dogs, my husband. Those are my life. Mm-hmm. Everything else is like, it's enjoyment.
That's good though. I like that.
Yeah.
So when your clients do come in, do you walk them through the whole process too to help educate them so that you can set expectations for them, or what do you think when a new client comes in?
Yes. Well, it depends on what you're talking about. If you're talking about a client who is consigning, yes. You have to hold their hand and explain to them the way everything works and your contract works and everything else. With a purchaser, like someone who's just shopping, you just try to help them find their prize, so to speak.
Get excited with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I got to experience a little bit today, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? I mean, it was pretty amazing. The girl that came in today, we shared the same birthday, which was so random. And, but it's fun.
It's part of the process, though. You're connecting with your clients.
Yeah, it's a fun place to be.
Yeah. If you could do this differently, would you still have a store? Do you think you would still be in this line of business knowing many years later, the amount of time and effort that you put into it every day?
I would, yes, because I love what I do. And I feel like my husband, the other day, he came home and he goes, he drove past the store and my hot pink neon sign lights up the boulevard. And he was like, you know what? I'm so proud of you. Aww. And he was like, it takes a lot, but I do. I love what I do. You do.
So if someone wanted to open a store like this, how do they start getting all the inventory? Because obviously you've been here for a little bit, but how did you first get your clients?
Well, my husband is, he was in the bar and restaurant business for 20 plus years. Mm-hmm. And he also represents athletes. So like my very first client was Shawnee O'Neal.
Okay.
Was, Shaq's wife. And I remember going to her house and, picking up, and they were amazing. But she did the Housewives show at my location when I was actually at a different location at that point. Mm-hmm. But, it's, I have been blessed to have a husband who's like, he's a native, and he's also not only through the bars and the restaurants, but through his celebrity, through his representing the athletes, has helped tremendously. Mm-hmm. And but it's been fun.
Yeah, because I was kind of surprised. A store like this, you could have been in the design district. I'm sure the rent would have been astronomical. So location is important, but you don't necessarily need like walkability, because we tell each other where we buy our stuff all the time.
Correct.
So self-promoting is probably good for you too.
Correct. And ironically, my husband's brother is actually, he's connected to the design district, but I did not go into there. And when I got this spot, I just thought it was, it's 8 blocks from my house.
Makes it convenient for you.
I mean, it's great. It has parking.
Yeah, that's true. Very hard in Miami.
Yeah, and it's for me, it's fantastic.
Nice. Yeah. And I like that too, because while the design district's nice, they don't own their stores. Those people work for somebody else. So they don't quite understand like the amount of labor that goes into what you do all the time. And I think, as a client, someone who shops, I appreciate that. And for me, I'd rather buy from you, buy local, than perhaps some of the larger stores that may not care as much about their clients or have that connection with us too. So I think that's probably important as a shopper, knowing that I can come to a store that's been here a long time and that you're here in the community and I'm supporting you in the community too.
Yes, we are definitely a local, you're definitely supporting the local community. Like I said, I live 8 blocks from here, and it is pretty fantastic. Like, I mean, I have watched all these. When COVID happened, I was here on an island. I mean, I literally had no neighbors, and now we have the place next door that opened. We have the wine store next door that opened, and there's a lot of other places that have opened, which have been, awesome.
Yeah, because they bring in traffic, then they see your story. You bring in traffic, they get to see the other things around here.
Well, I was here for a long time without
anybody around you.
Without anybody, yeah.
It definitely has built up a lot around here.
Yeah. I definitely, but it's been great. So
yeah,
I wouldn't change a thing.
So what haven't I asked you that you would like maybe the audience to know about you? Or the store?
That's a very interesting question.
Yeah. I think people just like to get to know the owner too. I've asked a lot of questions about the store, mainly because I shop and I like this. But how about from the audience perspective about you as the owner?
For me, I would say, you know what? This is something that has been a labor of love. My kids they're all on board, and they love the fact that I do this, for myself. It's not, I don't even know how to explain it, but it's like my little something that is all for me. And so, you know what? It's whenever my husband is a very generous man, but I will say it is nice to be able to buy things on my own, with my own stuff, and do my own thing with my own money.
That's cool. Awesome. Well, if our audience, CC, wants to find you, what's the best way for them to find you?
5580 Northeast 4th Court. I mean, I'm online, but it's 5580 Northeast 4th Court. It's the best thing I can say.
And you're on Facebook, the Consignment Bar. You're on Instagram, the Consignment Bar.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they need to come check out your store because your inventory seems to move fast too.
We have one of everything.
Yes.
So if you like something, get a thing, because there's not another one.
Yep. Shoes, purses, clothes, jewelry, sunglasses.
Correct.
All of the above.
And we have like everything from graph jewelry, diamonds. We have the VCA with the Van Cleef. We have a lot of
a good selection of stuff.
Yeah, we have a lot of things.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate your time today. Thank you for allowing me to be on location and to interview you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to Empower Her Money podcast. I am grateful for you. Please make sure to leave us a 5-star review, like this podcast, share it, subscribe, and let's keep teaching others how to take control and be empowered with their finances.